Will you bring your own microphone? I will call on the people, you will deliver the microphone. You sit down, give him the darn microphone. Here. They will come to you.
Thank you, Governor.
You get to be governor of Ohio, you can call.
Thank you for coming here and visiting. My name is Martin Badnick, and I'm the Independence Party candidate for this congressional seat. And as I listen to your story, I think about the similarities between Northern Ohio and Central New York State. Similarities that include not only a strong industrial past and a great quality of life, but an area that has lots of colleges that educate top talent, not only Mohawk Valley Community College, but we have actually 100 colleges across upstate New York. And yet too many of our best and brightest, after they graduate from college, leave and go on to new industries in particular that they can't find enough jobs here. And one of the things I've respected about Ohio and the work that you and others have done there is recognize that government is not good.
I know, he's going on awfully long.
There is a question here. That what you've done in Ohio.
He seems impressive.
What you've done in Ohio that caught my attention is really leveraging private sector resources to grow new industry jobs, not only with Jobs Ohio, but also the Third Frontier. So if you could amp that up.
Well, thank you for the question, sir. Here's the situation. For every area, this is what I believe and what we practice. You got to figure out what makes you unique. Now, you know, if I were to just become mayor, or we got a county executive who's great because he likes me, but if I were in charge of the community, I would pull the education, the business people, maybe the labor folks because they play an important role, and I would sit in an office and I would say, what do we do better than anybody else? What makes us unique? What is it? If you have a lot of universities, I can tell you what that can translate to. That can translate to a system of workforce education. So you shouldn't put a limit on what you can attract. You need to have a broad swath. I mean, I don't know what would fit here, what would work here, but every area needs to figure out what it is that they bring to the table that is unique from where they are. And with a high degree of education should translate into good opportunity. Now, you say that they leave here. I don't know where they're going or why necessarily they're going.
Ohio.
Are you? He's going to look for better work. I understand. Okay, come back when you feel. All right. But you know, for example, what we try to do in our state and the country ought to do, and this is the way I look at it. In Ohio, there's about 6 or 7 things that we can do really well. We can do financial services because we have so many banks and insurance companies, and we can attract more. We know we can do medical devices because we have the Cleveland Clinic. It's like one of the greatest healthcare systems in the entire world. We know that logistics is important because we're located 600 miles, within 600 miles of 60% of the country. We know that we can be IT because in central Ohio and around the state we have great universities, and we're now starting to attract them. So we look at what we have, and then we remove all barriers to trying to get those people to come in. And I think that's exactly what you're driving at, is that how do you look at these things and get yourself in a position where you can revive a community. Now you have one thing here that they don't have in New York City: traffic. I mean, it's a cost of living. Everybody's not, you know, being up in Watertown today, I mean, you know, you're there because you love the natural resources. You have things, tourism. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is, what's the tourism? What are you getting up here? And since you have wide open spaces, what are industries you can attract into your community that you can't get anywhere else? And that's the way you have to think about it. And so that's what I would do. My plan would be to try to pull the people together who can help us to make decisions, to create, thank you, Alex, to create priorities for economic growth. Because you don't want to use your young people. You know, the challenge we have in the north of the United States is a lot of young people, the growth areas are down south or in the southwest. So we're going to have to figure out how to create excitement so these guys don't leave. Are you leaving? Why not? Okay, you want to stay in the upstate, do you? The answer is yes for me today. Okay, enough said. Right here, sir. Okay, good.
I did have a question about the debt, and my question...
About what? The debt? Oh.
My question now, and I think most of the people here would agree, how do we get you elected?
We're going to call this the odyssey of the little engine that can, okay? You all heard me say, or maybe you haven't, you're going to hear it now. I'm not going to take the low road to the highest office in the land. I don't want to do that. I don't want to... I was ignored. I go to the debates, and, like, I didn't have a sound bite, so nobody covered me, and everybody thought I was going to die about 50 times along the way. The campaign would die. Now, we went from 17, and now there's 3, and I'm one of them, okay? And by the way, I'm the only one who consistently beats Hillary Clinton, so... This is the way I like to describe it. So there's, I don't think you saw Chris Matthews last night, or any shows, I've been doing this lately. There's Coke, there's Pepsi, okay? And people like me go, well, that's right. You go in the store and you see the Coke, you see the Pepsi, and you look at your spouse and say, yeah, is that case again? I don't know about that. And your spouse says, well, you know what, we got to spend money. Put it in the shopping cart. Don't put that in. Go with the Coke or the Pepsi. So now what's happening because of town halls and newspaper articles and all this stuff, I'm finally getting heard. That's all I've ever wanted, is for people to hear me. If they like me, great. If they don't like me, I'll cry. I said I'd cry for 5 minutes. I'm up to 15 now because I work so hard. So it's starting to happen. And as people hear the message, we're starting to rise. I mean, this is a critical area for us. That's why I'm here. We have other places around in New York. We need to win delegates. Now, what's going to happen is nobody is going to have enough delegates to win on the first ballot. We're going to go to an open convention. And it's going to be really interesting. If you think that the media is trying to tell you a lot now, just wait till we go to a convention. And people, I think, will actually say, I got to get home from work, I got to watch the convention. Because it's going to be so different, so unique. And after the first ballot, it's going to become more and more wide open. So what would my argument be? Well, first of all, I have to win delegates and have momentum going in, which we'll have. But then the argument's going to be 2 things. One, who can win in the fall? Because if you can't win in the fall, then you lose the Supreme Court, the White House, you lose the United States Senate, you lose from the State House to the courthouse. You just can't get wiped out. I mean, do you realize how high these negative ratings these guys are? And I have a positive rating. Now, I got to tell you, I paid for this because I operated in obscurity for the entire time. But you know what? I think it's paying off. And I will offer the fact that not only that, but I can actually be president. And my job will be to go to all the delegations and convince them. And we have a whole team that works on delegates and all that stuff. And then in the fall election, that's really not a big worry for us. Because I think I can get the blue collar and the independent voter as long as I stay where I am and give them a vision and a path to how we fix the problems in the country. And you just have to be patient at this. The other thing is that people have never understood who are the political pundits. You see, if you've never been in the arena, anybody here play high school football? You guys played high school football? You know, I think you should have run faster or blocked more. Or, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, do I? And by the way, I don't know how many of you know them, but the family of Will Smith. Well, Will Smith was a football player at Ohio State. He was a great football player, and he was a great young man. And a terrible tragedy has affected, of course, not just him, but his whole family. And I hope we'll remember that Will Smith family, okay? And salute them when we see them. But see, only he could tell you what it was like to walk into Ohio Stadium and what it was like to be in a football game in the fourth quarter. So the pundits all try to talk about who should be in, who should be out, this and that. They never were in an arena in their lifetime. They get paid to talk. That is like, could you imagine having a job where they pay you a lot of money to just talk, even if you don't know what you're talking about? It's like you should have a degree in that. Punditry, not having to know anything, just talk. That's all you got to do. So, but what they don't understand is the things that I am telling you today, particularly about where the spirit of our country is, and that these problems can be solved. I just think this is important that that voice be heard. Not just a voice of negativity and throwing us into the ditch and gnashing of teeth and fighting one another and riots and this, all this other nonsense you hear. So you know what? I'm going to give it my best. If I win, it'd be great. If I don't win, I will have done my best, and I want to stay in the positive lane. Period. End of story.